Well, now, this is a video you guys probably wouldn't have expected, and I know this is probably like something that will be kind of out of my cup of tea, but considering that I played a couple Marvel games on the channel, I think I know that I'm a Marvel fan. And so I think it's also fair that I talk about this upcoming game that we'll be playing on the channel when it does come out. Maybe, maybe not, who knows, but this new game I'm talking about, right? It's a new Marvel game, and it takes place during World War II. And you could probably already expect what I'm talking about. The new game in question that's supposed to be releasing this year, 2025, is called Marvel's 1943 Rise of Hydra. Hydra. And there's a couple of actors on this game. One of them you might remember or know, whose name is Kari Payton. And the writer for this game is Amy Hennig, and the developers behind this game is Skydance New Media. Now, if you don't know who Amy Hennig is, she was the writer that wrote the story for the Uncharted games before Uncharted 4 had released by the time that she had left Naughty Dog, that being Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. And if you don't know who Kari Payton is, most of you will remember him for being the voice actor for Cyborg in both the Teen Titans TV show, with the original Teen Titans from 2003 to 2004 and the Teen Titans Go sort of reboot from the 2010s and I think even to this present day. And so, with all this to say, what is it that I need to bring this game up? Well, there's been a current hot topic on sort of this game regarding the gameplay. And to understand what this is, we need to discuss what's been going around this. Now, according to sources, and from what I've gathered, there was an interview held by Kari Payton who talked a little bit about the game. And essentially, what he was saying is, first of all, he is very excited that he's got a chance to play a Marvel character, and especially one significant, and one that, you know, is going to be one of the main characters in this game that you will definitely play as. And he's also stated that, you know, the development team and the crew are pushing for a holiday, Christmas time release date of sorts for Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra to come out, which, if there will be any sort of marketing or trailer happening sometime, maybe even during the summer or perhaps around like fall, then yeah, it will most likely be alluding to that fact that, yeah, it's going to be releasing during the holidays / you know, Christmas time area for this game to release in 2025. And this game is being, you know, run on the Unreal Engine 5, and it looks fantabulous. And the story is definitely enticing. And it's clear that the story is also based off of the one comic run or volume, Marvel comic, obviously, where Azuri, who is also going to be in this game, which is the Black Panther that was occurring and who was the king of Wakanda around this time, and Captain America teaming up to take down Red Skull and forward his plan and destroy Hydra. And they do have a conversation too, both Captain America and Black Panther, but they of course, you know, work together to defeat a common goal, a common enemy. And it's clear that the story and just how everything's, you know, being played out definitely takes inspiration off of that. However, we're not here to talk about all that necessarily, more so about the interview. And what really stuck out from the interview, aside from, you know, Kari Payton's, you know, whole stick, is that he has worded, and Amy Hennig, I believe on Twitter, has also stated this too, that they want the gameplay to, or the game to be like a experience where the whole entire family can sit down together, and one person and a gamer of the house has the controller, and they're playing or she's playing the game, and the entire family can experience it and enjoy it and have a good time. And this got people very concerned on the gameplay for this game, rightfully so. And it is definitely raising a lot of questions, and there's even been sort of like a theory connecting this sort of line to why there has not been a lot of gameplay or any gameplay shown, despite it being like a entire year or so since the game has been announced. And the typical question, or the question that's been going around, is based off this statement, and based off the fact there's not been a lot of gameplay at all, or any gameplay, my bad, will the gameplay for Marvel's 1943 Rise of Hydra be a interactive movie similar to games like Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human, and Until Dawn, and many more interactive movie like that? Or would it be more of a typical action adventure game like the Uncharted games, the God of War games, the Tomb Raider games, the Red Dead Redemption GTA type of games? You know what I mean? Those kind of action adventure type of games. Obviously, it being much more superhero like Marvel, because it's Marvel characters. Even a Marvel Avengers type of gameplay. I forgot to mention that. And this has been sort of the hot topic for discussion, rightfully so, because again, the way how both Amy and Kari are wording it, it leans more into an interactive movie. Now, I hope we're all wrong, and I hope that, it is not the case, and it is your typical action adventure type of gameplay experience, because, while interactive movies do have their place in the gaming space, and there's nothing wrong with them, so long as it's priced, fairly, and and the type of game is making is designed around that and fits it, that's not really the preferred gameplay style for these action adventure type of genres of games, especially when it comes to Marvel games. And the last thing they will want is to see endless cutscenes, and just scripted events being played out in front of them that for them to, control for like at most probably a minute or two, and then go back to watching cutscenes. You know what I mean? It's very tedious, and it's annoying, and it's just not really fun, They want to really feel immersed. And also, before I proceed, it is also my personal favorite and preferred way of playing games, being the typical action adventure, because while I do have a soft spot for interactive movies, at the end of the day, when you have the option to pick between interactive movie or typical action adventure gameplay with new elements and mechanics involved, most gamers are going to pick the latter than the former, because again, at the end of the day, interactive movies are low-key boring, and people would like to feel and experience and play as the characters, not watch them on a silver platter in the disguise or the form of a video game. And so this is kind of the hot topic and course of discussion regarding this topic, and for good reason. And so I think it's also important to discuss the outcomes and potential effects of what would occur if one of these two gameplay effects do go about it, and how I think that one of these gameplay effects could actually work. I'm not going to cover both because, for one, I'm not that really knowledgeable on interactive movie gameplays, and two, I feel like they're very self-explanatory, so we're not going to talk about that. But anyways, proceeding on, let's say that we're all overanalyzing. We're all paranoid, and they just have bad wordplay, and it is your typical action adventure style gameplay. For starters, many people's, fears and concerns will be, levitated and weighed off tremendously. Now comes the fact of how well done is the action adventure gameplay style going to be handled, and what's going to be added to the mechanics, stuff like that, etc., etc., etc. That's going to be all I'm concerned. But the major thing is whether it's an interactive movie or actual gameplay game, like actual game is going to be out the question, because it's going to be a game, which many people will prefer and would rather have than an interactive movie. On top of that, in addition, people are going to be much more, not enthralled, but much more motivated, enticed, and incentivized to buy the game, most likely, because for one, it's a Marvel property game, and a lot of people love Marvel, and two, it's going to be a typical action adventure game, which many gamers would enjoy, and they do need a new Marvel game after Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Avengers. Ooh. So this would definitely be a much more positive rep. It would definitely get a lot more new people into it, and I feel like it would definitely sell a lot more units, considering of the type of game it is, and the property of what this game is about. And overall, it will be the much more preferred thing, and I will definitely enjoy it, and I will definitely be 100% sure of myself that I will be, showcasing this on my channel. However, what if it is instead a interactive movie? Now, it will make a much more logical sense that of the whole idea of, it's the type of game that the entire family could come down and experience together. It makes much more sense because it's more of an interactive movie. However, in the gaming space, it will lead to much more negative outcome. For one, majority of the people are not going to enjoy it because it's an interactive movie, not an action adventure game type of gameplay. Two, The reputation is going to be much more casual and not really hype. And 3, it wouldn't really give people the thing that they really wanted from a new Marvel game, or give them something fresh to be satisfied with when it comes to another Marvel game until the next Marvel game comes out, whether that be Spider-Man 3 or the new Wolverine game coming out soon. And additionally, to add to this, it's not going to sell that well because most people aren't really interactive movie gamers like that. Like, yeah, there's an audience for them. Yeah, there's a space for those kind of games. But typically in the action adventure or even the action space of gaming, usually the game style is always preferred, and many people enjoy that type of style too, especially since it's much more immersive and interactive that way, because you're actually playing as the character. You feel like the character. You're doing the actions the characters will most likely do. So it makes sense, rather than having to do a scripted event, push this button, then watch a abundance of cutscenes that would better fit a movie than an interactive movie. And so that's sort of the negative side and sort of the con, and the unfortunate thing about it if it does become the other thing. And while yes, a lot of non-gamers would rather prefer it because they're going to be one of the first takes into the gaming space, and it's just going to be like, oh well, cool, pretty chill. It's not going to be like anything long term, and again, many non-gamers don't really play games like that, so it's going to lead to just them, in a sense, maybe wasting their time a little bit with this kind of approach and this sort of targeted audience. Now, with those effects out the way, I think it's also important to discuss how do we think that the actual game side of Marvel's 1943 Rise of Hydra would work if it is the more game, action adventure, Uncharted, Tomb Raider, Devil May Cry, God of War style type of action adventure game, Red Dead Redemption, Marvel's Avengers, GTA type of stuff. I think if it were to be like that, I'm pretty sure how I think it might go about is that it's obviously going to have the typical action adventure elements and UI and rank ups and skills and whatnot and mechanics and other things like that, and even new ones added to make it much more of a unique experience. But I think either it's due to the fact that the games just look so great and the story's going to be so enticing that it's going to make a lot of non-gamers sit down and watch it despite the gameplay, because it's going to be very interactive. It's going to feel like more of a movie, and the story is that enticing, and the game graphics is just that well done that many people will be inclined to sit down and watch it. Someone play the game than how a lot of games will typically be prescribed, not prescribed, but perceived as. Or it can be the type of scenario where they have elements of that interactive moviness, but it's not like spout on your face, or it's not like the predominant side of the games, and it still has a lot of that gaminess to it that still makes it fun enough, but it does have some elements of that interactive movie that would sort of help balance it out in a way where it does still pretend that the whole family can sit down and experience this thing together type of feel. But who knows what could happen? We won't really know for certain until new news and trailers and marketing show for this game. But until then, this is all we have. And I think, considering that there has not been any sort of announcement for any, pushback or delayed, which would definitely be much more beneficial for them, considering that GTA 6 has just been delayed to an entire year. This is sort of like the breakaway for them to finally get their time to shine until GTA 6 comes out, which I will also be making a video on sooner or later, so stay tuned for that. But until then, guys, let me know what y'all think. If you think that, or if you would rather prefer interactive movie gameplay from Marvel's 1943, or would you rather prefer the more typical game action adventure? And do you think that an interactive movie would actually benefit the game, or be in my sort of headspace and think that would actually negatively impact the game? Or do you think that the action adventure gaming aspects would negatively affect the game, or if you're in my headspace, benefit the game? Let me know down in the comments, and I'll see y'all in my next video regarding GTA 6 and a new video regarding Sparking Zero, so stay tuned for that. Till then, guys, God bless, love y'all, see y'all next time, and peace out.